وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ.
So again, I'm trying to show you this again and again so that you understand where we are, where we're going, where we're heading. So we've talked about Shahada al-Nas briefly. Then Surah Saf, struggle in the way of Allah by becoming His helpers. And then the how to reform now through Jumu'ah, institution of Jumu'ah. We want to now look at one of the 5 best messengers, Ulul Azm min al-Rusul. As Allah Ta'ala, He has told us about them, and in the Ahadith, they include Nuh alayhi salam, which we will look at today, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. 5 best of the best of humanity. And really should make us think about if these people were the best, meaning that they were the most guided, hence they were the most intelligent in that they would not waste their time. Hence, what did they do? And what they do is something that I must do then. Because if I am hoping for success, salvation, progress, etc., at the cost of following them, then I am fooling myself. Yeah? Logical, isn't it? Rational. So with that mindset, we're going to look at part of, in fact this is really towards the end of the life of Nuh alayhi salam's da'wah, his da'wah mission, to give us an indication of tawasi bil haqq, which is to exhort, invite, advise with a lot of passion, with a lot of urgency regarding something which is the truth, before it's too late. So how did Nuh alayhi salam do this? This is what we want to get from this, so that it will motivate us. And then when we look at Ashab al-Qarya, we're not going to do tafsir of that. You've done that as pre-course. In fact that's all the group activity that is. So this is the last tafsir really of today. You will bring out lessons from that, inshallah, that we can then take forward from the Ashab al-Qarya, and especially the one person who was shaheed because of his tawasi bil haqq. You're seeing the gradation, yeah? How it's linked. What we want after that is then, inshallah, we start to become more motivated to do tawasi bil haqq, inshallah. So Surah Nuh, we're going to invite Abdullah to recite for us Surah Nuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أرسلنا نوحا إلى قومه أن أنذر قومك من قبل أن يأتيهم عذاب أليم قال يا قوم إني لكم نذير مبين أن اعبدوا الله واتقوه وأطيعون يغفر لكم من ذنوبكم ويؤخركم إلى أجل مسمى إن أجل الله إذا جاء لا يؤخر لو كنتم تعلمون قال رب إني دعوت قومي ليلا ونهارا فلم يزدهم دعائي إلا فرارا وإني كلما دعوتهم لتغفر لهم جعلوا أصابعهم في آذانهم واستغشوا ثيابهم وأصروا واستكبروا استكبارا ثم إني دعوتهم جهارا ثم إني أعلنت لهم وأسررت لهم إسرارا فقلت استغفروا ربكم إنه كان غفارا يرسل السماء عليكم مدرارا ويمددكم بأموال وبنين ويجعل لكم جنات ويجعل لكم أنهارا ما لكم لا ترجون لله وقارا وقد خلقكم أطوارا ألم تروا كيف خلق الله 7 سماوات طباقا وجعل القمر فيهن نورا وجعل الشمس سراجا والله أنبتكم من الأرض نباتا ثم يعيدكم فيها ويخرجكم إخراجا والله جعل لكم الأرض بساطا لتسلكوا منها سبلا فجاجا قال نوح رب إنهم عصوني واتبعوا من لم يزده ماله وولده إلا خسارا ومكروا مكرا كبارا وقالوا لا تذرن آلهتكم ولا تذرن ودا ولا سواعا ولا يغوث ويعوق ونسرا وقد أضلوا كثيرا ولا تزد الظالمين إلا ضلالا مما خطيئاتهم أغرقوا فأدخلوا نارا فلم يجدوا لهم من دون الله أنصارا وقال نوح رب لا تذر على الأرض من الكافرين ديارا إنك إن تذرهم يضلوا عبادك ولا يلدوا إلا فاجرا كفارا رب اغفر لي ولوالدي ولمن دخل بيتي مؤمنا وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات ولا تزد الظالمين إلا تبارا.
Surah Nuh. Initially, when we started the QFC last time in Dewsbury, the first time we delivered it, the original course before the actual QFC, which is based on something that has been done in Urdu, after Surah Saf and after Jumu'ah, the course actually had Surah Al-Munafiqun in it. And I want to mention that because we realized later on that maybe it would have been good to just mention that at least at this point. Because when we do not do what we are supposed to do in terms of jihad fi sabilillah, we tend to make excuses. Can't do this because that, etc., etc., and then life passes us by. This can lead to a type of hypocrisy. That's why Allah Ta'ala mentions after this Surah Al-Munafiqun, that if you tend towards this negligence, towards your duties, and saying you believe but you don't act upon it, then you can very easily fall into hypocrisy. So just to make that, and maybe you can go look into that inshallah. But we thought that because this is more for da'wah in terms of we want some strategies of da'wah, so we then consulted with some people of knowledge, and alhamdulillah, they suggested Surah Nuh. And then when you read it, sometimes it's amazing, you read a surah which you have read many times, but when you read it for a certain purpose, you see things that you never saw before. And this is what happens with this surah. Inshallah, that's the overview diagram. And there's a quote here from Sahih al-Bukhari at the top. Nuh and his nation will come on the day of resurrection, and Allah will ask Nuh, did you convey the message? And he will reply, yes, O my Lord. So, Ulul Azam min al-Rusul, one of them, and in fact all of them will be asked by Allah, did you convey the message? So the theme here really is embodiment of Tawasi bil Haqq. If you want to see a person who is a symbol for Tawasi bil Haqq, other than the Prophet ﷺ, another messenger, this is Nuh alayhi salam, and you will see that. So it has been broken down into those 4 parts so that we can hopefully focus on each, insha'Allah. So let's start with some introductory points. The revelation of this surah is in the Meccan period, when trials and tribulations were becoming more and more severe. And you know that after approximately the 6th or 7th year of Nabawi, the Prophet ﷺ and the Muslimin, they were exiled from Mecca to a valley, known as the Valley of Abi Talib. How long did they stay there, do you know? 3 years. Can you imagine living outside your house for one night? I can't. There's no heating, there's no quilt, there's no running water, there's nothing. It's a valley. You know, you go camping sometimes, you go super equipped. So brothers won't take sleeping bag, they will take mattress and sleeping bag. Because they don't want to become uncomfortable. Subhanallah, yeah. So, but the Muslimin, they had to spend 3 years. To the extent, because they were boycotted, social boycott, this was an economic boycott of the Muslimin, that they could not allow food to enter, even water to enter. The people had to eat the leaves of trees. For 3 years, this was the problem. In a time like this, people start to have doubts, become weak. Allah Ta'ala reveals Nuh alayhi salam's story. He spent 950 years giving the message, and maybe under 100 people in that time accepted his message, maybe. Some narrations say even less than that. So you Muslims, 3 years, don't worry. 950 years. You see how Allah Ta'ala, He helps His helpers. Allah Ta'ala helps His helpers. If you help Allah, Allah helps you, He says in the Quran. Some other context, as you know from history, after Adam alayhi salam, Nuh alayhi salam is the first Rasul, and up till and until that time, the people were muwahid, they were on Tawheed. However, as time passed by, when their dignitaries or their respectable or honorable or righteous people died, they would start to remember them, remembrance. Shaitan came and he gave them fanciful ideas. He said, why do you not now take those remembered, righteous, pious people and draw pictures of them or create statues of them, so that every year you can look up to them and remind yourself of them. And that eventually led to them, idol worship. You see? So Allah Ta'ala, in this deen, al-Islam, which has been completed upon Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, He eradicated all avenues that would lead to shirk. That's why we are told not to draw pictures. Many people may ask the question. Somebody asked me about why can't you draw the cartoons? You know when the cartoon issue happened? Very simple answer, that this deen is here, it's completed to make the creation equal, and to make sure that the creation looks up to the Creator and not looks down or up at each other. When you create an idol, which is a creation, you are a creation as well, you are subduing yourself in front of something that is theoretically the same as you, created being. Although lesser than you because you created it. You see the issue of equality now. Nobody can argue against that. Equality, isn't it? So therefore, Islam has given us that. Anyway, side point really. But yes, at that time then, the idol worship came. And Nuh alayhi salam was now sent. And the idols have been mentioned, the 5 idols that have been mentioned in this surah. And it's interesting that these idols, the names of these idols were actually extracted from names of Allah. Yeah? So if we have Wadda, one of them is Wadda. It is actually from Wadud, which is Al-Wadud, Allah Ta'ala's name. Yeah? So there was a link there. Maybe the person was Abdul Wadud. Maybe, yeah. But anyway, idol worship crept in. Nuh alayhi salam came to remind people to come back to the worship of Allah, just as all messengers came. Okay, there are some points I will remind me, inshallah, to summarize some points at the end, some lessons which I have got here, but I'm not going to do that now. But remind me, inshallah. Okay, Surah Nuh. Let's start then, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So the first part, his da'wah, the da'wah of Nuh alayhi salam for these people. So we have a context now. Towards Tawheed and Istighfar. Inna arsalna Nuhan ila qawmihi. And we, verily, Allah Ta'ala is saying, we sent Nuh alayhi salam to his people. For what? An anzir qawmaka min qabli an ya'tiyahum adhabun alim. Warn your people of something before the adhabun alim, the great torment comes, meaning the hereafter, the hellfire. Because they are committing shirk, idol worship, worshipping other than Allah. Okay, one important thing here to mention here, and we mentioned this previously as well with the Surah Saf. Qawmihi, his people, qawmihi, his nation. He was from them people. He was part and parcel of those people. He was not foreign to those people. Yeah? This teaches us a lesson that if we claim to be people of a certain country or a certain geographical area where we live and we are living and we intend to live, then we should not look at people as if they are something alien to us or we are alien to them. You're part and parcel of that community. Hence you should have concern for that community. So what did he say? What was his da'wah? Qala, he said, Ya qawmi, O my people. Here he is showing his closeness to them. I'm one of you. I haven't come from somewhere to show that I'm better than you. No, I'm one of you. Ya qawmi, O my people. You see the language? Straight away a barrier is lifted. That we're not different, we're the same. In that we are the same people. And I understand your issues. I understand your context. I have the same problems as you. I have the same aspirations as you. I'm one of you. Not something special. Ya qawmi, inni lakum nadhirun mubin. I am towards you a plain warner. Nadhir is to warn about something that is about to happen. Nadhir. The opposite of that is Bashir. Bashir is to give good news, glad tidings, that this good is about to happen to you. So he comes and makes it very clear, I'm from you, all I'm saying to you is what's the point, what's the objective, I just want to warn you clearly. I have no hidden agenda here. I am what I am saying I am. And what was his da'wah? So he's warning them now. An i'budullah. So I'm warning you that you need to worship only Allah. Worship only Allah. What was the meaning of ibadah? Who can remind us? Ibadah means what? From what you have learned in the course, not from what you knew already. Yeah? Al-ibadah tajma'ul aslain. You remember? Ibadah is the, yes. Excellent. Ahsant, mashallah. Chocolate. You didn't take chocolate before. Come and take chocolate. Give him chocolate. غاية الحب والغاية الخشوع والخضوع. Ibadah is the coming together of extreme and immense love for Allah. And then extreme meaning complete submission and humility in front of Allah. This is ibadah. Okay? So he is saying, this is what I warn you. You are not doing that, you need to worship Allah. وَاتَّقُوهُ, and have taqwa of Him. What was the definition of taqwa according to Ali radiallahu anhu? Who remembers? Sisters, you remember? We mentioned it before. Any sister? Or any other hadith you know, this is taqwa, if you can tell us.
If you have nice clothes and you're walking on a stolen path, and you're very careful of the way you walk and protect yourself.
Very good, Asant, mashallah, yeah. This is how one Sahabi mentioned. Yes, Brother Daud? Bismillah.
Remember him and don't forget him. You obey him and don't disobey him.
So remember him, do not forget him, obey him, don't disobey him. Okay, Abu? I said no ums. You said you did two ums. One more and you're out. Allah understand. Fear of Allah. If you haven't made a note of this, make a note of this. Because Ustad, mashallah, Abu is teaching us now, yeah? Fear of Allah. Acting upon the revelation. Be content and happy with whatever you have, even if it is little. And prepare for the day of departure. Which sister can tell me these for now? For a chocolate. Sisters, I have high expectations from you. That's why I keep asking you. Yes, Bismillah.
Fear of Allah.
So, to fear Allah, good, one.
Act upon revelation.
Act upon revelation, two, excellent.
Be content with what you have.
Be content with what you have, mashallah.
And prepare for your departure.
And prepare for the day of departure. As if she knew already, but she may be shy to say it. Mashallah, ahsant. Okay, good. So this is taqwa. Have taqwa wa ati'un. What does ati'un mean? Maminun? Ati'un, not Zaid, I was saying Zaid. Nahid. Ati'un. Obey me, good sister said before you could say it. They're beating you now, mashallah. Ati'uni means obey me. Yeah? So let's analyze this da'wah, yeah? This is strategy of da'wah. Warn people, don't be afraid of telling them there's hellfire. Many times we are afraid to, we don't want to put them off. Nuh alayhi salam, he is the best da'i. Is yes or no? One of the best da'is ever. You can't, yeah, go beyond that. He is starting, and Allah Ta'ala is saying, we sent him specifically to warn people. So warn people that there is hellfire, there is Jannah, Jahannam. Hence, do something, ibadah of Allah, taqwa of Allah, follow my way. All of Islam given, yes? SubhanAllah. يَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ مِنْ ذُنُوبِكُمْ. Now what will happen as a result? So once you have given them this message, you are now telling them the consequence of you following the message. You are not highlighting at the moment directly the consequence of not following the message, yeah? You're trying to give them the carrot first, yeah? Incentive. يَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ مِنْ ذُنُوبِكُمْ. First thing that will happen if you do this, which means you do tawbah, yeah? Because if you are worshipping idols, you have to do tawbah, don't you? You have to repent from that. Allah, He will forgive you from your sins that you have already committed. Okay? وَيُؤَخِّرَكُمْ وَيُؤَخِّرْكُمْ إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ مُسَمَّى. And He will prevent, or He will, what is the translation here? Yeah, He will delay for you a specified time, meaning the punishment that you would get if you continued to disobey Him, meaning your life, He will prolong it. He will prolong your life. There's a discussion about qadr at this point, which we can't go into because of time, but it's interesting to know. The Prophet ﷺ said that qadr, the only thing that can change qadr is what? Dua. Yeah? Ad-dua. If you make dua, your qadr can change, meaning that your lifespan can be increased. Yeah? And very simply, because a lot of people start asking this question then about qadr, Allah knows that you will ask the dua and He will increase it, therefore it is all written anyway for you, yeah? We're not going to get into that. It's really simple. Allah knows everything, that's it. That you would make dua now and He would prolong it because of your good deeds. Tawbah is a good deed. By doing tawbah, Allah He gives more rizq. Part of rizq is good, better life to do more good deeds, isn't it? Yeah? So if you want to have a good life, a longer life, it should be with the intention, I want to worship Allah more. Yeah? Yes, Tahir?
I'm not trying to offend Allah or argue with Allah's wisdom. But if He knew that the people of Noor would not believe in, not believe what Noor alayhi salam said,
Yeah.
then why did
Go on.
He send him?
Yeah, a very good question, and I won't answer it yet, but I'll give you the question, you have to think and answer it. And this is a very common question by non-Muslims as well, and we should ask these questions. It's good to know this, alhamdulillah. That if Allah Ta'ala, of course, in His absolute knowledge, He knows already what will happen. People of Nuh will not obey Him and not believe in Him. So why did He waste all, no astaghfirullah, not waste, but why did He take all this time, give Nuh this headache and all this, and then in the end they have to be drowned anyway? Yeah? So have a think of that and then we'll come back. Can somebody make a note of that question? We'll come back to it, yeah? You will answer it, inshallah. Okay? Okay. So, Allah will forgive you your sins and He will increase your life, and that it will postpone your death and the adhab, of course, until a appointed time. Ila ajali musamma, meaning that appointed time of death is there. You cannot change that. Ultimately, you have to die. Inna ajalallahi idha ja'a la yu'akhir. Indeed, the time that is set by Allah, when it comes, then it will not be delayed. Law kuntum ta'lamun, only if you knew. Only if you knew this. So Nuh alayhi salam has got real concern for his people. He is telling them, do tawbah, be righteous, and you will see these benefits. This is immediate benefits you will see in this life. Yeah, because a lot of times when we speak to people as well, because the person is not attached to hereafter, hasn't got concept of hereafter, you have to give them incentive which they can hold on to in this life, and we will see that in this surah again. An incentive that will help them right now understand, oh, if I do that I will get this now. Yeah, the hereafter you have to build on that, but this is something immediate. Okay, let's move on. So the dawah methodology of Nuh alayhi salam, the next few ayat here. قَالَ رَبِّ إِنِّي دَعَوْتُ قَوْمِي لَيْلًا وَنَهَارًا. Now one thing I forgot to mention in the beginning, this surah is really the climax of Nuh alayhi salam's life. Yeah, many other parts in the Quran have mentioned other things about Nuh alayhi salam. That he came, he invited, they mocked, etc., etc. And then he was told to build the safina or the fulk, the boat, etc., etc. This is really the end of that story. So we see that whole context, yeah? This is the end of that. He is saying to Allah, Rabbi inni da'awtu qawmi laylan wa nahara. Oh my Lord, oh my Rabb, I invited them laylan wa nahara, night and day. Meaning that I didn't waste any time. You know, this is a phrase, isn't it? When you're working really hard for something, you say, I've put in night and day for this. Yeah? Blood and sweat. So he is saying that I have done everything that could have been done. فَلَمْ يَزِدْهُمْ دُعَائِي إِلَّا فِرَارًا. However, my invitation to them did not increase them except in running away from me. So my invitation to them, da'wah to them, is directly proportionate to them fleeing away from me. So more da'wah I do, the further they go away. Now just imagine that, think about that. How do we feel, or how would we feel if that happened to us? If we do an open day and people come in and we talk to them and they say, get lost, leave this country, to hell with you, blah, 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 blah. Would you do another open day? Maybe not. Nuh alayhi salam did this for 950 years. Abuse after abuse after abuse after abuse. وَإِنِّي كُلَّمَا دَعَوْتُهُمْ لِتَغْفِرَ لَهُمْ جَعَلُوا أَصَابِعَهُمْ فِي آذَانِهِمْ وَاسْتَغْشَوْا ثِيَابَهُمْ وَأَصَرُّوا وَاسْتَكْبَرُوا اسْتِكْبَارًا. Look at the reaction he's receiving. He says, whenever I ask them, I call them, the da'wah, you remember the da'wah, his da'wah was, do istighfar, worship Allah, have taqwa of Allah, follow me. Yes? Da'wah methodology there, yeah? Da'wah methodology is there. When I did this da'wah, so that they could be forgiven, because he cared for them, what did they do? جَعَلُوا أَصَابِعَهُمْ. They put, asabi is actually more than fingers. More than fingers, yeah? Asabi is as if you completely block any sound from going into your ears whatsoever. Complete blockage, nothing going in. They did that. وَاسْتَغْشَوْا ثِيَابَهُمْ. And they covered themselves with their clothes. So my man Nahid comes to me, yeah, and says, sorry, I have to mention your car every time. He goes, I got a new car, Lexus. And I say, bro, I'm not interested. وَاسْتَغْشَوْا ثِيَابَهُمْ. They would cover themselves up completely, so that they don't want him to see them, and they don't want to even see him, because they're so fed up with him. They just had it with him. I'm not saying that I feel like that, yeah? I'm just saying as an example, yeah? وَاسْتَغْشَوْا ثِيَابَهُمْ وَأَصَرُّوا. What is the meaning of asarru from the vocabulary, Brother Rahat? Very good. Persisted. Asarru. They persisted. Nusayba, you with me? Sure? Good. Stay with it. وَاسْتَكْبَرُوا اسْتِكْبَارًا. And they showed great, mighty pride and arrogance. This is the reaction that Nuh alayhi salam is facing. In fact, it mentioned in the tafsir that they would beat Nuh alayhi salam. I couldn't believe it until I read it. They would beat Nuh alayhi salam. He was old. He was old man. Because Allah Ta'ala, see what happened, this is very interesting. People other than Nuh alayhi salam had their own average life. Let's say 60, 70, 80, yeah? They kept on coming, their children came, then the children came, then he saw generation after generation after generation after generation. But he himself did not, you understand? You see that in parallel, yeah? He lives 950 years. He sees, let's say, 15 generations within that period of time. So at the end, he's old man. They beat him. They throw him, wrap him up, and in the morning he's back for more. That's amazing, isn't it? Because he cared about the people and he cared about his obligation to Allah that he has to convey the message. Yeah, he cared about conveying the message. ثم, and then إني دعوتهم جهارا, and I also called them publicly, openly. Yeah, I did it publicly. I went wherever I could to talk to them. Any opportunity I could find, let me address them. ثم إني أعلنت لهم وأسررت لهم إسرارا. And then I announced to them and also confided to them secretly, meaning that some people may have shown a tendency to listen, but because of the pressure, we will see in the next section, there was social pressure. They had certain values that stopped them from being able to openly say, yes, what you're saying makes sense, because I look a bit strange if I said that. So he said at 1-to-1, secretly, that look, as long as you believe that there is Allah, worship Him alone. Fine, you don't need to go public if you don't have the strength. But please, at least die on it, on your own, in your own heart. Look at the effort. Also, there are reports that the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would visit the same house, at least he visited it 70 times to give da'wah. 70. That's difficult. We will hardly do 70 events in our life if we do that. He would go to the same person 70 times. Maybe today he might, maybe today he might, maybe today, maybe today, maybe today, maybe today, maybe today. Hope there. Sense of responsibility is there. Yeah? Concern, real concern for the people in their hereafter. So he did all these tactics, yeah, all these strategies. Okay, move on. فَقُلْتُ, and I asked them, I said to them, istaghfiru rabbakum, ask Allah Ta'ala to forgive you. Istaghfirullah. Yeah, ask Allah to just forgive you. Innahu kana ghaffara. Don't worry. Verily He, Allah, He is Ghaffar, not Ghafur, Ghaffar. Ghaffar means the one who always repetitively is forgives even the hugest sins. What is He giving people here? Hope. La taqnatu min rahmatillah. Do not lose hope. Do not despair in the mercy of Allah. Inna Allah yaghfiru dhunuba jami'a. Allah, He can forgive all the sins. And again, I must mention the last hadith in Imam al-Nawawi's beautiful. Beautiful, subhanAllah, astaghfirullah. Amazing. If you come to me with even the sins that go up to the mountains and the clouds, if you just say astaghfirullah, Allah Ta'ala says, I will forgive you. Wala ubali. It will be as if you never did it in your account, wiped clean. That's it. It didn't happen. This is Allah Ta'ala, Ghaffara. He's giving them hope. So don't lose hope. Many people, in fact, in the open days, they ask similar questions. Because they say, well, so what is repentance in your religion? Because inside there's something. They want to know, is there hope for me? This is where we can give them hope. Of course there's hope. Until the last breath, there is hope. He is now giving them the benefits of doing istighfar. What will happen if you do istighfar? So the benefits of istighfar. يُرْسِلِ السَّمَاءَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِدْرَارًا. Allah Ta'ala, He will cause the sky to rain on you in perpetual rain. There is some discussion by some people that at the time Nuh alayhi salam was there was some drought. Yeah, this is one thing that I came across. Allahu alam if it's confirmed or not. So he is saying that if you do istighfar, then what will happen? Allah Ta'ala, He will rain for you perpetual rain, because you are in need of it. And it's interesting, when the famine took place in the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, yeah? You know Umar radiallahu anhu? In his khilafah, there was a famine, lasted for quite some time. When he came out to make dua for water, he mentioned this, فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا. Because he knew this is how we can get water. Because Nuh alayhi salam taught us that, or Allah Ta'ala taught us that through Quran, through Nuh alayhi salam's life. So first thing you will get this barakah in your life. Yeah, the water will come. وَيُمْدِدْكُمْ بِأَمْوَالٍ وَبَنِينَ. And He will also help you in terms of wealth and in terms of manpower. So if you do istighfar now, if you ask Allah to forgive you, He will give you these worldly benefits to start with. وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ جَنَّاتٍ. And He will make for you, prepare for you the Jannat, gardens. وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ أَنْهَارًا. And He will also give you rivers, meaning everything that you need for a good life. Yeah, everything that you need for a good life. You need water, you need manpower, you need land, you need everything to have a very wealthy life, yeah? Good, happy life. Allah will give it to you if you do istighfar. Some hadiths to mention here. This is hadith in Sahihain, meaning Al-Bukhari and Muslim. that the best friends of Allah are the ones who repent the most. Prophet ﷺ, he would do istighfar at least 70 times. Taught us to do istighfar. There's reports that Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah, when he was stuck in difficulty, he would do istighfar 1,000 times. To say astaghfirullah, Rabbi min kulli dhanbi wa atubu ilayh. Meaning, Allah, I've done something wrong, forgive me, cover me. Istighfar means, from ghafara, ghafara means to cover something up, so it's not seen anymore. Meaning get rid of it. To do istighfar, so we should do astaghfirullah. We should say astaghfirullah. And from the extended learning and the pre-course, we are trying to encourage you to do the morning and evening adhkar. Yeah? It's written there that you should do morning and evening adhkar. If you go online, YouTube, you can just listen to it every morning and every night. And you will find part of it is to say astaghfirullah. Yeah? Khair. And then he moves on. مَا لَكُمْ لَا تَرْجُونَ لِلَّهِ وَقَارًا. He says, what's wrong with you? What is it with you that you do not attribute to Allah what is duly appropriate to attribute to Him in terms of His grandeur? You do not give Him His due. You are not, the way I understood this as a dawah thing was, we need to give people a concept of God. What is the right concept of God? Who is Allah? Because of that, because you have not thought about Allah as He is supposed to be thought about, you cannot make sense of the universe around you. Therefore, you are not guided because you don't understand, or you haven't been taught who Allah is as He is. So he's saying, why do you not give Allah His due right in that you understand who He actually is, rather than you worship idols? Some other benefits of Tawbah mentioned here, I forgot to mention, but to mention it here before we finish this section. Some strategies on how to get rich by the Prophet ﷺ. Do Hajj. Now he's laughing means that's something to do with him. Get married. So that means you didn't want to get rich all these years. No, you did, inshallah. To get married, you become rich. MashaAllah. Prophet ﷺ was known for his generosity. Yeah, for his generosity. Man came to the Prophet ﷺ and he asked him for some sheep. The Prophet ﷺ gave him a whole herd of sheep. He went running to the people. He said, accept Islam, because this man, he doesn't fear poverty. Prophet ﷺ was very generous. Never was he asked for something and he refused. Never. He never refused. He never refused. Wallah, only Rasulullah can do that. We can't do that. We can't just give everything. Subhanallah al-Azim. So, this is the beauty of doing tawbah and istighfar. And a person's rizq is increased. A person's rizq is increased, and that rizq is only stopped from a person if he sins or she sins. So astaghfirullah is an amazing thing for this dunya and for the akhirah. And that's what Nuh alayhi salam is saying. وَقَدْ خَلَقَكُمْ أَطْوَارًا. He is now giving them something to think about. The signs that they need to look at. Now it's interesting, I was listening to one speaker talk about this, and he mentioned that, and just to mention it, because you are people of da'wah, so we should know these things. Usually, philosophically, 3 types of proofs historically have been presented for the existence of God. Yeah? One is the cosmological proof, one is an ontological proof, and one is a teleological proof. I'm not going to go into what that is, just mentioning it. However, Al-Quran and Islam gives us 4 proofs that this speaker mentioned. There can be maybe 1 or 2 more, or maybe they can be absorbed within this. Yeah. So if you want to make a note of that, then that's useful. Some of the proofs given in a dawah situation to people for them to ponder and think about Allah. Number 1 is the ayat of Allah, the signs of Allah in His creation. ayat of Allah in His creation. And Quran mentions these in many, many places, and we're about to look at a section like that now. Secondly, proofs from the stories of the prophets. So there are some historical proofs. And the fact of their character, etc. So stories of the prophets in themselves, they are a type of proof. The third type of proof is when Allah Ta'ala, He challenges us. For instance, He says, did they create themselves or were they created from nothing? And you'll be familiar with that if you've done the go-up. Yeah? Did they create themselves or were they created from nothing? So for you to think about, okay, I can't make myself, nothing comes from nothing, so there must be something. Yeah? And who can tell me the fourth obvious one? Sorry? It depends what you mean by that. What do you mean? So that comes in that, doesn't it? For you to think, reflect. It's too late when it's death. There's no sign in that. Yes, Akiko Rahman. So that's one of the ayat of Allah, one of the signs of Allah in His, you could say, not creation, but one of the signs of Allah. That, as I said, there can be more, yeah? But the one I'm after is a really obvious one. Good, the fitrah. The fitrah. Girls, you remember fitrah? Yeah? Good. So fitrah is another proof. Yeah? And that's why we covered fitrah in the previous session. So that we can, when we have dawah conversation, we can bring it back to what is fitrah, who are we, etc. Khair. This section we are looking at the ayat in the creation of Allah. So Nuh alayhi salam is talking to them, asking them to reflect. وَقَدْ خَلَقَكُمْ أَطْوَارًا. So he's saying, while Allah, He has created you in stages, so don't you realize who this Allah is? So in stages. This can mean, obviously it can mean a few things. It can mean man created from clay first, then from nutfa, then from mudgha, then alaqa, or alaqa, then mudgha, then idama, then lahma, then is born, and then stages, infant, child, or toddler, child, teenager, man, or young man, man, mature man, relatively older and older and older. Yeah? Stages Allah Ta'ala created. أَلَمْ تَرَوْا كَيْفَ خَلَقَ اللَّهُ سَبْعَ سَمَاوَاتٍ طِبَاقًا. So he started with, look at how Allah Ta'ala created, yeah, in stages. So this was our creation, but everything in stages. And do you not see how Allah, He created the 7 heavens in tibaqa? Tibaqa means in levels. Yeah, in levels. Now, I'm not going to go into the science of things, etc. But there are certain speculative ideas, yeah, that there are different levels of the atmosphere, etc., etc. These are all theories. Yeah, we don't deny them, or we don't say yes, this is exactly what it means by this. Yeah, but we know Allah Ta'ala, He created 7 heavens. We know that for a fact. Yeah, their kayfiyah, how they are, we don't know exactly. Yeah, until maybe we do some research and we find out. Allahu Alam. Yeah? So think about the creation. وَجَعَلَ الْقَمَرَ فِيهِنَّ نُورًا. And He put inside, He placed inside these heavens the qamar, the moon, which is nur. Nur is that which reflects light. Doesn't have its own light. Nura. وَجَعَلَ الشَّمْسَ سِرَاجًا. And He created the sun as a siraj, a light which has the combustion, a source of light. And you know that some people mention this when they're talking about the amazing, accurate nature of the Quran in explaining certain phenomena, that the moon doesn't have its own light, it reflects it from the sun, and the sun has light that it produces as a result of combustion. So he's saying, look at all this mechanism. Wallahu ambatakum min al-ardi nabata. And he caused you to grow from the earth a progressive growth. And we mentioned that already. ثُمَّ يُعِيدُكُمْ فِيهَا وَيُخْرِجُكُمْ إِخْرَاجًا. So just as he has created you from the soil progressively, he will يُعِيدُكُمْ, he will send you back to it. Meaning when you die. So in that respect, death is a sign. Yeah, in that respect. If you look at it in this context. وَيُخْرِجُكُمْ إِخْرَاجًا. And then he will bring you out. Another way of coming out. Meaning, yeah, you will be resurrected. Now, you see the one point really quickly to make here is he did not go directly to there is a hereafter. So these people weren't ready for that. He took them gradually in things that they can observe. They can see a purpose, a cycle, coming, going, and then he brought it to the point that he wanted to make, that just like that, we will go back, and just like the other things they come back, seasons come back, etc., we will come back. So you see, gradual, taking the person to be able to draw that conclusion. And this is important in da'wah. Sometimes you want to stuff the information in, get excited. No, you need to take the person through the paces and let them, make the final, realization. Then inshallah ta'ala, that's better. Wallahu ja'ala lakum al-arda bisata, and Allah ta'ala, He made the earth as an expanse, or He made it flat for you to be able to travel. لِتَسْلُكُ مِنْهَا سُبُلًا فِجَاجًا, and that you may follow therein roads of passage. So He made mountains and valleys, etc., etc. So these are just some ayat in the creation of Allah that Nuh alayhi salam is pointing the people towards to reflect and think about and draw conclusions from. And this is what our part of our da'wah should be. Okay, moving on. And we should use these in our da'wah conversations, because these things are so simple. You can just point outside when you're doing da'wah. You can say, look at that tree, look at the sun, look at the moon. So it's all there for you to talk about, isn't it? Yeah, it's all there, naturally there. So the call of Nuh alayhi salam and the destruction of his people. Now one thing to note is that after 950 years of strong labor in terms of da'wah, day and night, secretly, openly, one-to-one, etc., etc., meaning he had exhausted all means of conveying the message to the best of his ability. Now he has realized, he has come to the realization after seeing generation after generation after generation after generation, a trend over many, many, many generations, that these people are getting worse. It's not getting better. And if we continue, let this continue, it will only get worse. So this now needs to stop. Yeah? The reason why I'm saying that is because people become hasty, yeah? They do a bit of da'wah, then they get angry and they say, to hell with the people. Astaghfirullah. This is not the message here. Okay? قال نوح ربي, Nuh alayhi salam is saying to his Rabb, إنهم عصوني. Now, here is another point to make here. Nuh alayhi salam, he is complaining to Allah only. Yeah? When he's upset, he's complaining to Allah. And he's complaining, not complaining, or he is trying to cry his heart out to Allah, not to anyone. Just like Yaqub alayhi salam in Surah Yusuf. Yeah? That I only show or complain to Allah. Okay? So this is how the da'i should be. قال نوح ربي, Nuh alayhi salam said, oh my Rabb, إنهم أصوني, they have disobeyed me. واتبعوا, and they have followed من لم يزده ماله وولده إلا خسارة, they have followed those who have wealth and children, but this will not increase them except in loss. Meaning they look up to those people who have wealth and abundant children. Because in the past, a sign of strength was how many children do you have, because you're a big clan then, you're strong. Yeah? So they are now mesmerized by this. They see the concept of success is wealth and having power. This has misguided them. وَمَكَرُوا مَكْرًا كُبَّارًا. And they have plotted, or it says here conspired, an immense plot. An immense plot. SubhanAllah, this is very, very pertinent to think about. Shaitan and his agents are busy plotting against Allah and His deen. 24/7. Yeah? But Allah Ta'ala, He mentioned in Surah Saf, as we mentioned today, يُرِيدُونَ لِيُطْفِئُوا نُورَ اللَّهِ بِأَفْوَاهِهِمْ وَاللَّهُ مُتِمُّ نُورِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُشْرِكُونَ. They want to extinguish the light of Allah with their mouths, but Allah, He will complete His nur, even if they dislike it. So they, وَمَكَرُوا مَكْرًا كُبَّارًا, they had an immense plot, a conspiracy against Nuh alayhi salam. Yeah? And what were they insisting on their people? The next ayah. وَقَالُوا, what were they saying? لَا تَذَرُنَّ. This is from the vocabulary. Do not abandon, do not leave alihatakum, your gods, your idols that you worship. Do not ever, la tazarunna means don't even think about abandoning this way of life. This is your identity. This is your value structure. How can you leave that? Don't even think about it. You see, this is the pressure that people are being put under in that context. وَلَا تَذَرُنَّ, and do not even think about abandoning Wadd, an idol. وَلَا سُوَاعَ, another idol. وَلَا يَغُوث, وَلَا يَؤُوقْ, وَنَثْرَ. So these are the 5 main idols. The tafsir mentions that these were the names of those noble people. Yeah? The noble people for whom they made statues and eventually started to worship them. So, society is saying, don't abandon that. Your culture. This is you. You have no identity if you abandon this. وَقَدْ أَضَلُّوا كَثِيرًا, and as a result, they have misguided a huge, vast majority of people. The majority of people have been misguided because of this. So hence, Allah Ta'ala is saying, وَلَا تَزِدِ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا ضَلَالًا. So, and my Lord, do not increase the wrongdoers except in error. Because what they have done, there's no point of return now. They have reached the point of no return. So Allah Ta'ala, now don't guide them now because they have done too much. They don't deserve to be guided. And then as a result of Nuh alayhi salam's dua now, yeah, مِمَّا خَطِئَاتِهِمْ, because of their sins, أُغْرِقُوا, they were drowned. فَأُدْخِلُوا نَارًا, and they were entered into the fire. فَلَمْ يَجِدُوا لَهُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ أَنصَارًا, and they found nobody to help them in that case against Allah. Now what does it mean? That they were drowned and then they were entered into the fire. Anybody want to shed some light on that? Because if you go into the water, there's no fire, is there? So what is, yes? In the hereafter, but we will see, and it could mean that, but it doesn't from the tafsir. Yeah.
So they were basically punished here and punished in the hereafter.
So what, let's qualify this. What do you mean by in the hereafter? Does this mean in the Jahannam after Day of Judgment? No, this here it means in the barzakh. In the barzakh. The time period after the person dies and before resurrection. I think that's azan. So we were mentioning and we were discussing here ayah 25, مِمَّا خَطِئَاتِهِمْ أُغْرِقُوا فَأُدْخِلُوا نَارًا فَلَمْ يَجِدُوا لَهُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ أَنصَارًا, which is translated as follows: because of their sins, so these are the people of Nuh alayhi salam, they were drowned and put into the fire, and they found not for themselves besides Allah any helpers. So the question that was put forward was, what does it mean they were entered into the fire? They were drowned. They were not put into the fire. It does not mean actually that they went straight to the hellfire. The tafasir mention with reference to the following ayah. If you take the ayah reference first, this is Surah Ghafir, Surah 40, ayah 46. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم النار يعرضون عليها غدوا وعشيا. The fire, they are exposed to it morning and evening. ويوم تقوم الساعة أدخلوا آل فرعون أشد العذاب. And the day the hour appears, it will be said, make the people of Fir'aun enter the severest punishment, meaning the hellfire. So this is actually referring to the barzakh, the intermediary time after death until and before the resurrection. So in the grave, this is talking about the punishment in the grave, that the people would be exposed to the hellfire in the morning and the evening. And this is what it is referring to here, that the people of Nuh alayhi salam, after they were drowned, their alam of barzakh was to be exposed to the fire. This is before the resurrection. فَلَمْ يَجِدُوا لَهُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ أَنصَارًا. And they will not find other than Allah any helpers now. Nobody will be able to save them from this punishment. Moving on to the last part then, the prayer of Nuh alayhi salam for and against his nation. وَقَالَ نُوحُ رَبِّي لَا تَذَرْ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ دَيَّارًا. Now understand again, to emphasize, this is after a long period of time of him giving da'wah, and now people, after generation after generation after generation, in succession, persistently, defiantly have persisted in disobeying Allah, idol worship, etc., etc., and they are not producing but people that disbelieve and are corrupt. So hence, Nuh alayhi salam is at this point now saying, there's no more hope. So Ya Allah, do not leave upon the earth from among the disbelievers any inhabitant. Because we need to get rid of these. Why? Innaka intadarhum. Because if you were to leave them, yudillu ibadak, they will misguide and mislead your servants. Number one. وَلَا يَلِدُ إِلَّا فَاجِرًا كَفَارًا. And they will not have children except they will be wicked and they will also disbelieve. So to allow this to continue, they will cause more corruption in the land. And then in the end of this surah, beautiful example of Nuh alayhi salam acting upon his advice. His advice was, do istighfar, do tawbah. And he is doing exactly the same. Linking that to Surah Saf, لِمَا تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي. Oh Allah, my Lord, Rabb, forgive me. وَلِوَالِدَيَّ, and my parents. وَلِمَنْ دَخَلَ بَيْتِي, and whoever enters my house, meaning close to me. مُؤْمِنًا, in the state of Iman. وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ, and generally the believers, men and women. وَلَا تَزِدِ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا تَبَارًا, and do not increase the people who have done wrong except in destruction. Etiquette of dua is being taught here. Make dua for yourself first. Rabbi ighfir li. Then closest to you, parents. Wali walidayya. And then who else is in my house? And then generally the Muslims. Like we say, Rabbi ighfir li, wali walidayya, walil mu'minina yawma yaqumul hisab inna salah. This is a dua. Beautiful etiquette. Start with yourself and then extend out the dua. So this is the dua he has asked Allah, and he has concluded with, do not increase them except in destruction, meaning that this has gone beyond a point of return. Hence, we need to destroy these people before they corrupt any more generations. And this is really, subhanAllah, mercy from Allah, in that He gave them such a long period of time and opportunity, and they defiantly disobeyed and they disbelieved in the messenger. So with that, we come to the end of the people of Nuh alayhi salam and his story. A lesson to be learned here is that we should not make dua against people. Yeah? We may become frustrated after just doing a few events or a few efforts, and then we start cursing the people. No, this is not the sunnah of the prophets. This is an exceptional thing that happened right at the end of this period of time. And this is the dua of Nuh alayhi salam at the end of 950 years. So we need to think of that in context. We should be like he was, concerned about the people around us, inviting them, bearing the reactions, and we need to continue like he did. So with that we'll conclude this session.